Hello and welcome back to REV Endurance Sports and an experiment. On Saturday, today is Wednesday, on Saturday, so about 3 or 4 days ago, I went out and did a course recon of a 200K, 125 miler that is coming up this Saturday. And I started from home and ended up with 139 miles or 224 kilometers. And about 100 miles in, 80-ish miles in, God, I can't remember now. Anyway, during the ride, I picked up a nail in my rear tire. And about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had worn one of my Rene Hurst tires pretty thin, and I didn't have anything in stock in a 28 other than a tubeless Connie 5000. So I said, you know what, let me give tubeless another try. I am a bike shop. I am a curious fellow. I experiment all the time. Sometimes for you folks, sometimes for my own edification. So in this case, I put on these 28 Connie 5000s and I was riding them on this 224K ride. And I saw the nail at one of the controls that I had to stop at, take a selfie in front of this market. And I was like, do I pull that out and risk it not sealing? Now, by the way, I did have my Dynaplug with me, but I didn't want to go through that trouble. So, question for you. Do you think it stayed plugged because the nail was still in there? Excuse me. And question number 2, if this was a tube, what are the chances of that tube having punctured with that nail in there? So right now the nail is acting like a plug, but we can't keep riding with this nail in there. So what I'm going to do is grab the camera, show you the nail. I don't know how big it is. Then I will pull the nail. And by the way, inside here is orange seal because there is a viewer who swears by it, and I haven't used it in a long time. So, I tried stands, I tried Silka, I tried Muck Off, So I went with orange seal on this installation just because, as I mentioned, I have not been using it in a long time. So he swears by it, says he does 20,000 miles per year. Or K, can't remember. And he says it seals all the time. So we're going to do 2 things. 1, grab the camera, show you the nail. 2, I have a toe peak pressure gauge because I want to see what pressure is in the tire. And I will pull the nail, and if it doesn't seal, then I'll have a plug handy. So let me grab that. All right, so here's the pressure gauge that I'm going to use. It's a toe peak. I know that many of you have seen this guy. And then, of course, I've already removed the cap on the Dynaplug. So we've got the Dynaplug at the ready. We have the pressure gauge. So let me grab the camera and show you the nail that I'm talking about. So there it is. Let me see if I can put my hand there. And because I did at least another 50 miles with this nail in there, it no longer has a pretty top to it. But just for scale, here's the tip of a dyno plug. So you can kind of see this, the nail is probably really small. And, you know, it doesn't seem to be that long, otherwise it would have punctured the tape liner in here. Not tape, yeah, tubeless tape, right? So what I'm going to do now is put the camera back where it was. And we are then going to begin the extraction process once I have gotten the tire pressure. Now this was aired up on early Saturday morning, so of course today is Wednesday, so the pressure should be down quite a bit. And the other reason why I had not pulled the nail was because I didn't have anything to grip the nail to pull it out. So I had two reasons why I was just going to leave the nail in and keep on going. So let's see what we can do about extracting that nail. Maybe I'll grab some needle nose or something. Now I've also got these, and we'll see what it's going to take to get this out. Okay, so first things first, let's find out what pressure is in here. Let's turn this guy on. All right, here we go. Okay, right now it says it has 55 psi. Now I aired this up to 70 psi, which is max pressure on these head wheels for a 28 tire. Now our roads are super smooth here in San Diego, so you can run that 70 psi all day long. All right, let's see what we can do to get this guy out. All right, there's the nail again. And actually I'm going to get out of the way because I don't want to get sprayed. Oh, okay, so I don't need these pliers. It's coming out pretty easily. Okay, here we go. 55 psi on a 28 tire, 21 internal, 25 external. Here we go. And this sealant, about 3 weeks, this sealant's been in here. All right, so let's go. All right, that's 55 psi. And it's sealed with the orange seal. Now, of course, I'm not riding, so I'm not scraping off the scab from riding. And thank goodness this is a tiny little nail. I will show you that here in a minute. So it's holding. So now the question is, do I leave this alone or do I insert this dyno plug? I'm going to leave it alone because the hole is really small. But as what happens typically with these is once I inflate this back up to riding pressure, it typically blows back through. So I'm going to mark the sidewall on both sides. So if I get spray, I'll know that it was, whether it's this one or a brand new puncture. Okay, so the other thing I want to do is show you what pressure I ended up with, because we started with 55. So what did it end up with? All right, I'm going to use these guys to try to hold it in place before it falls. Can you see how small that nail is? If I rotate my hand too much, it'll fall out. So there it is. Wasn't actually that long, but it is super pointy. I wonder if you could see how pointy that nail is. And so that, of course, creates a very, it's very, very pointy. And of course, look how small it is. I mean, there's just no way I would have been able to see that. Oops, there it goes. Well, there's no way I would have been able to see that while riding and avoid it, right? Okay, so let's check the tire pressure. We started with 55. Give or take 1 or 2 psi, because every time you put this on, you're probably losing at least 1 or 2 psi. So here we go. All right, so that says 53. And as I mentioned, 1 or 2 psi every time you put this on. But seems to be holding. And I can feel the little scab on there. So we're not going to use the dyno plug for now, but stay tuned because I hope to get a ride in between now and the event on Saturday. And if I end up ripping off the scab, or if I air up to riding pressure, I want to leave this the way it is now, let it cure for a few hours or maybe even a few days until I can ride again. Being Wednesday, maybe I'll ride Friday. There's rain out there today, so I'm not going to ride it today. So I'm going to let this sit. I'm going to sit it at 6 o'clock just to have the sealant down there and just kind of let it cure at least overnight, and then I'll report back. So I poo-poo tubeless all the time. So I also want to show you when it works because, I can't be overly biased, otherwise you won't watch the channel. I do have opinions, but we have to work off of facts as well. So if it seals, then it seals, and we need to give the tubeless system props when it does it, when it works, I should say. Okay, that's all for today. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you up the road.